So Deadpool and Wolverine is an action-packed and comedic and violent superhero film directed by Sean Levy. The film aims to bring together two of Marvel's most beloved anti-heroes, Deadpool, played by Ryan Reynolds, and Wolverine, played by Hugh Jackman. The film follows Deadpool, who goes on a search for a replacement Wolverine for his universe as the one who his dies. But along the way, he goes on a wild trip through the multiverse to save the ones he loves. And this film was really cool. It has some great humour, some great comedy, some great action, a load of violence, surprisingly, for a Disney film. And I thought it was pretty good, so spoilers ahead, and let's get into this. So the film begins with Deadpool looking for Wolverine, and literally digging up his grave. I know they said they weren't going to touch Logan, but he touches him all over the place. And he realises that all that's left is his adamantium skeleton before he goes to fight the TVA agents using Logan's skeleton, and the opening credits then play. And this opening credit sequence was probably one of my favourites in a Marvel movie in a very long time. It was such a lot of fun. We then get Deadpool telling us about how he needs to save his world, however first he needs to tell us what happened. So, flashback about 40, 50 minutes, probably. No, I'm joking. I think it was like 6 hours. And basically, we see Deadpool putting on the toupee and trying to live a normal life as Liz has left him due to him doing nothing with his superpowers. He and Peter from the previous film work at a car agency. So he's like trying to help people get cars, but he's terrible at it because he keeps swearing in front of people's kids. So he's like, nah, this ain't for me. But he's still going to do it because he wants to earn money and try and earn Liz back. So what does he do? Well, he and Peter go home and it's his birthday, but he doesn't really care. And then he gets into his house and he sees all the characters from the previous film in Blind Al's apartment, celebrating his birthday with a surprise birthday party. Wade then gets a knock on the door from the TVA, who grab him and take him into the TVA, where he is given a new suit and told his timeline is dying, and he has a chance to go to the sacred timeline, aka the main MCU. This is where the film gets a bit weird, because Deadpool decides, you know, if you're just going to kill my timeline, I think I'll just get a replacement Wolverine. So he punches this guy in the face, and he then steals his little tablet, and then he goes on a search for a Wolverine. While he's going for a search for a Wolverine, we get a big goddamn, like massive, just absolutely massive, I can't think of the word, loads of scenes put together, goddamn, I can't think of the word, I'll just go with it. We get a massive bit of a load of scenes put together where he's looking for Wolverine, and yeah, in this bit we get a few cameos and a few comic accurate things. So he first goes into a universe where he sees a comic accurate Wolverine, and he's 5'3", so he's just making fun of him and going like, oh, how cute. We then get him in this universe where there's a bunch of skulls everywhere, and Wolverine is like tied to an X logo, so I guess that was from like a comic cover. We then get Henry Cavill as Wolverine. We also get Patch, and then we meet our main Wolverine for the movie. This is a Wolverine who let down his entire timeline, and absolutely no one likes him in it because he decided that he'd go get drunk at the bar rather than helping out the X-Men in a fight, which ultimately led to their deaths. And yeah, I can understand why no one likes him. He's a bit of a douche. All he does is just drink the whole time. But anyway, I'll put that aside, you know. He decides that he's gonna just get drunk, so he just literally downs an entire bottle of whiskey, or at least that's what I hope that was. If it was something harder than whiskey, I don't know how he's able to live, even with his regenerative powers, but yeah. So Wade then grabs him, and the two go back to the TVA, and he's just like, hey, I've got a replacement, but then the guy in the TVA is like, no, that ain't how that works. So they then get pruned and they're sent to the Void. In the Void, they have a big fight where they ultimately see this guy who Deadpool believes is Captain America, so he goes, Avengers Assemble, but then he goes, flame on, and it is revealed that it is, of course, Chris Evans as the Human Torch. And once this happens, they then get captured by a load of different people, but not before Wolverine kills Sabretooth. But then they get captured by Toad, and then they're sort of shoved into this thing with a bunch of chains everywhere, and then they're stuck there until they arrive at the corpse of Ant-Man, but it's like Giant Man Ant-Man. And inside is Cassandra Nova, our main villain of the movie. She is a really, really good villain in this. I thought it was great. And she's actually quite funny, along with just being a pretty good and well-written character. And yeah, so Deadpool ultimately ends up getting Johnny killed when he says that he called Cassandra Nova some very not nice things that I will not repeat on YouTube because I am only 5 minutes into this video. And yeah, so he gets his skin ripped off and then he falls apart with all his organs going everywhere. But then Deadpool and Wolverine ultimately escape Cassandra. And they meet Nice Paul, who I noticed. These are the two things that I noticed about him. He has a massive bulge and he's got a really Canadian accent. So, yeah. He keeps going sorry instead of, like, saying sorry, which I kept laughing at, but, yeah. Shout out to the Canadians out there. Hello. But yeah, Deadpool then sees Dog Paul, who he instantly falls in love with. I mean, why wouldn't you? That thing's adorable. I've got my own dog, but, you know, I would gladly trade. But, it's a joke. I'd never get rid of my dog unless it was for a dog like this, because no, I'm joking. But yeah, so we then get to have Deadpool basically threaten Nice Paul, just be like, you know, if anything happens to you, I'll take Dog Paul. But then they're given this little car and then they drive away and they then have a massive fight in the car until they ultimately both literally pass out from tiredness of fighting each other over and over and over and over and over and over again. And you know what happens next? We get some more cameos. Because basically, they are suddenly taken by this mysterious figure back to this place. And in this place, it's just this little, like, hut. And inside of here, Deadpool and Wolverine both wake up. And Wolverine is already drinking again. And we then get to see Elektra, Jennifer Garner's Elektra, coming in. We then get Wesley Snipes' Blade. This made me smile because I love those Blade movies. We then get Channing Tatum's Gambit. And we then get Laura from the previous one, X-23. I can't remember her actress's name, but she's a pretty good actress either way. And yeah, I mean, seeing Channing Tatum's Gambit was probably my favourite part of this film, just because of how much, like, he really wanted to do the character. Then he was just constantly, like, screwed over constantly, just because, like, of rights issues and all of that kind of stuff. That just sucks. But yeah, then we basically get to have all of them deciding they're gonna go fight. So they arrive at Cassandra's place, which is literally just Ant-Man's skeleton, as I said before. And we get an all-out battle scene. Like, this was one of my favourite parts of the film, where they're all just fighting together. It was so good. It was just really, really cool. Like, seeing, like, a new character in Gambit fighting with an old character of Blade alongside Jennifer Garner's Elektra, who I didn't really like anyway, but she was cool in this film. They finally decided to write her as a good character. But yeah. So, Deadpool and Wolverine then go inside of the ant thing while all the other guys are distracted by fighting Gambit, who is absolutely awesome. I know they're not just fighting Gambit, but I was really excited to see Gambit in this film. And yeah, they then get to go to Cassandra Nova, and Cassandra Nova's just like, you think you can beat me? But then they get given the helmet from Laura, and they shove it onto her. Basically, this helmet is from Juggernaut, since his helmet is the second strongest thing to prevent her powers, besides from, of course, Magneto's helmet, but they don't have that anymore, because that was melted down by Cassandra Nova. But they disarm her for a bit, and then they decide, you know what, we can't let her die. That would go against Charles Xavier, so we are going to let her die, or I guess Wolverine decides that Deadpool's all for killing her. And yeah, we then get to have Cassandra Nova sending them into their universe once again, or I guess Deadpool's universe. And it's just a really cool scene. But then she suddenly comes in there as well, and she kills a few people probably in the process, because like it's literally just blowing up all around them. That could also be the World Eater, though. They do have to deal with that still. But yeah, so she comes in and she grabs the dude from earlier in the TVA, and she's just like, "You're mine now, and then you're just gonna go down to the World Eater, and then we're gonna we're going to destroy every single universe, which isn't good, so you shouldn't do that. But, yeah, I mean, this was probably one of the parts in the film where I was just really wondering where the hell it's going to go, because I heard rumours about, like, a lot of other things that I was like, I thought that was going to be like a Wolverine and Hulk fight. That doesn't really happen. There's like a little hint to it earlier in the film while Deadpool's going through like all the different universes for Wolverine and Hulk, which I would like to see at least a bit more of that, but I guess I can't really use Hulk since he is owned by a different studio, sadly. So, yeah. That does suck though, because I would love to see that. But talking about the rest of the film, I'm getting sidetracked. We then get to have Cassandra Nova going down into the World Eater while Deadpool and Wolverine are up on the road, and then the Deadpool corpse come through the portal, and he uses Nice Paul as a shield, and then Wolverine just sort of holds Dog Paul, and they're just like, no, we can't kill it. It's too cute. And that was just great. I love that bit so much. So I was actually really surprised when my dad, who went to watch this with me, really liked it as well, because I wasn't expecting that, because he hated the first one, and I don't think he'd even seen the second one, but he liked this, which was surprising, because usually he just hates watching films where they have swearing in them when he's with me, but I don't see what's the issue there, but yeah. Back to the film now. Cassandra Nova is then trying to destroy the entire place, so she shoves her hands into the World Eater and she starts using it. After Deadpool and Wolverine kill literally every single member of the Deadpool Corps and start coming back to life, though, they are all just suddenly really, like, happy when they see Peter in a Deadpool costume. So they all just follow him, and Deadpool and Wolverine get into the room underneath the World Eater, and we get one of the best scenes in the film while they're playing that Madonna song, and this was a great use of it. We also get the cowl from Wolverine, which was absolutely sick. And yeah, we then get to have this scene where Deadpool and Wolverine are turning off the World Eater. You think they're going to die, and then afterwards, Hunter B16 from the Loki series comes in. And she's, like, talking to the dude who, like, grabbed Deadpool at the beginning of the film. And she's like, why did you have a World Eater? And he's like, my friends just died. Even though they weren't his friends. He tried to murder them earlier. But you just ignore that, you know. So, yeah, they then just appear out of absolutely nowhere. And they decide that they're going to stay in this universe. Because they've saved the day. Cassandra Nova's dead. And they turned off the World Eater, so I guess their universe is just fine now. It will slowly die in about 200 years, but they'll all die by then anyway, so what's the point? But apparently they're in the MCU now. I don't really understand that. How are they in the MCU? Like, I know they can just go through the TVA and everything, but they never really specifically stated that they were in the MCU, which sort of confused me a lot. Because every single, like, review for this, that was, like, a non-spoiler review, was like, yeah, and Deadpool's in the MCU now, and I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. I wonder how they're going to do that in the film. They don't. They do absolutely bloody nothing. Like, they don't even say it. They're just, like, the post-credit scene isn't to set up something else. It's literally just a joke. So I don't know why, like, they're doing that. Like, how's he in the MCU? Is he going to use, like, the watch to get into the MCU, because he said he destroyed it, so I don't really see how he's going to, but I guess we'll figure out at some point. You never know, they'll probably return in Secret Wars. So if so, I will watch that, and I will be excited to see them back. But what do you guys think about Deadpool and Wolverine? Let me know in the comments below. I give it like a 7 out of 10. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It was very funny, it was a lot of fun to watch. And ultimately, I think it's an alright film. It's probably the best Marvel film we've got in a good few years, I won't lie, but I do think it was just a bit overrated.